But is impeachment first up? I mean, how much sense does that make with all the important issues facing this country?
Well, if you knew how fractured and liberal this new Democratic caucus was, you'd know that probably does make some sense. You'd have thought they'd have gotten all the steam off their electoral pot in the first 3 quarters of this year, but apparently it's going to run all the way into the fourth quarter.
What about USMCA? Nancy Pelosi has been around. She's a great leader. She understands politics as well as anyone else. And with the 2020 election right around the corner, I cannot imagine that she's willing to go to the American people and say, vote for a Democrat, even though we did not vote for this bill.
Well, I appreciate you talking about her leadership. You know, there's so many things in Washington that aren't Republicans against Democrats. It's America against the world. And when you talk about our largest trading partners, yes, we need a deal. She knows it. Kevin McCarthy knows it. President Trump knows it. You and I know it. And so she's doing everything she can to round up the fringe elements of her caucus, bringing the vote to the floor, and losing does nothing for me. I want to bring that vote to the floor. I want to win, and I want to win big for all the working families across this country who are counting on us to get it done.
Sir, you talk about the fringe element of the Democratic Party and the overwhelming influence that they've gotten for themselves. On one hand, I think it's great political fodder if you're on the Republican side. On the other hand, you just spoke about America and Americans. Is it the atmosphere that we see, that we're watching, the vitriolic atmosphere, the anger that we watch and witness every day in Washington, D.C.? How do we overcome that?
Yeah. You know, there are some members of Congress who feel like they were sent here to defeat the other side. I wasn't sent here to defeat Democrats. I was sent here to advance America. And I think most of my Democratic and Republican colleagues feel exactly the same way. But when I talk about fringe elements, I am talking about those members of Congress who feel like if the bill is something that President Trump will sign, then it's not good. They need to send something that he absolutely won't sign. Well, that does nothing for me. It does nothing for working families. That's no way to govern, and that's not what we're going to see this fall.
Quickly, if we can just cover 2 more things. I've got a minute to go, but I want your thoughts on whether or not we'll see a government shutdown and whether or not we'll get any legislation on gun control.
There are going to be those elements in Congress who believe that shutting down the government will embarrass President Trump and create a Democratic victory. I reject that notion. There's no need to have a government shutdown. We've advanced 11 appropriations bills through the House. We ought to be able to get this done. As for gun control, there are absolutely some common sense things that we can do together. We've already moved some of those bills through the House this year. We moved some bills through the Republican House last year. If folks would stop trying to claim credit and start trying to work together, we could see these advancements on behalf of 330 million Americans.
Congressman Woodall, thank you very much. Appreciate it.